We're back on the Exit 52 podcast, presented as always by Jimmy's Famous Seafood and also by our good friends at the Black Eyed Susan Spices Company, who on Saturday, November 15th, will be at Baltimore's hottest event, which is back for its second year. Black Eyed Susan Spices and Peabody Heights Brewery present Nevermore Hot 2025, Baltimore's premier hot sauce festival. It's an event that is free to attend and offering a full afternoon of spicy entertainment for sampling products from over 25 spicy vendors from all over the country, including many whose sauces have appeared on the hit YouTube sensation Hot Ones. There will also be spicy food specials, oysters, live music, a festival exclusive hot sauce from the Black Eyed Susan Spice Company, the infamous Spicy Wing Challenge hosted by Def Con Sauces, and Peabody Heights Brewery is releasing the festival exclusive Fire Extinguisher Pilsner to go along with all their other delicious beers. All this plus the Dugout, which is one of the coolest arcades around, will ensure a spicy afternoon of tears and laughs that you and your friends will not soon forget. That's all at Nevermore Hot, Saturday, November 15th from noon to 6 p.m. at Peabody Heights Brewery in Baltimore. Follow the festival on Instagram at Nevermore Hot and check out the website nevermorehot.com for details. Also check out Black Eyed Susan Spice Co. on Instagram, blackeyedsusanspice.com. If you want to get your hands on some of their products. My name's Jake Louque. I'm joined on my screen by my good friend, gentle Spen Crenshaw. Been a little while, been about a week and a half. You've been bopping around. I've been busy. The Ravens have had weirdly kind of a lot going on for a bye week, but it was nice. It was relaxing to take that time off. How are we feeling getting back into the swing of things?
I am exhausted, but I am excited to watch some Baltimore Ravens football. I'm excited to watch Lamar Jackson play football. I'm excited to see what the Ravens can do from here. It is Baltimore. Who's got it better than Baltimore? Not John.
You're breaking out the vest, I noticed.
Vest is on. We're warm. So we're here. Vegas. I was in Vegas for a work conference for God knows how long. I had 2 weddings last weekend. I'm a ghost of myself, but when I can talk some football with my friend Jake, I feel good. We smile, we laugh, we cry, all those lovely things. So the Dub Bears are coming to Baltimore to see if they can put dagger in Ravens season, as it's time for the Ravens to win a game. They haven't won one in what feels like 1,000 years, which is a good feeling in retrospect. Now that the bye's worn off, the craziness, which we're going to get into, of what's going on with the ping pong table and the Baltimore Sun's alleged 25 sources. And the Ravens are 1-5. They have not been 1-5 in a decade, and they're 1-5 here and there. Good organization. Hey, only 2 Super Bowls to show for it in 25 years. Everybody's sick of it. If you're a 20-year-old fan, you probably are more miserable than anyone that's our age. If you're 20 years old listening to this, I get it. But I just thought that the whole whirlwind that's gone on just because they are having a bad year is so fucking funny. Like, it is so funny. And I think it does speak to the fact that they have been so stable for so long, and the floor has been so high, and the floor fell out this year through Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it was ugly. I mean, the responses, the reactions, they're ugly, deservedly so, because the expectation is that they're a good team year in and year out. So I think people are shocked. I think DraftKings had that little post saying that the Ravens, like, if you could pick the Ravens to start 1-5, it was 30-1. So yeah, like, I get it on one hand, but I think it's been really silly. If you go read one of Marlon Humphrey's tweets, the responses to it, oh my God. Like, I think I've done a good job, like, being less negative and less toxic, especially than I was when we started doing this and I used to get into it with people. I was a little younger, a little more ornery, but oh my God, man, like, Marlon Humphrey's replies are a microcosm of why Twitter is just a dirty, filthy pit of misery. And it's kind of shocking. Like, oh, Ray, oh, what are you doing? You're tweeting? Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were watching film every single night. Okay. I'm sure they watched a lot of film. I know that they also didn't watch film every night. Like, you hear stories over time. The idea, the sentiment's nice. And I'm sure in the year 2100, we'll tell stories of how much Ray Lewis only watched film and killed a guy. And that's all. Only two things he ever did was kill people on and off the football field and watch film. No, he had a fucking life and kids and went out and did events and all kinds of stuff. Like, good Lord, man. So I'm glad that the bye week's over. I'm glad that the ping pong, what was it called? Ping pong gate, paddle gate, something like that. Glad that's over with. I'm glad Lamar Jackson's on the practice field. And we'll see. I mean, Spenny playoffs for a reason, because playoffs start now. Kyle Hamilton said it in his presser, I believe, Wednesday. Every game's a playoff game. It's true.
Pretty much. It's a 1 week season.
Like over the next month. Like you gotta even this thing out fast.
Yeah, it's a 1 week season every week for the next 4 to 5 weeks, essentially. Yeah, you gotta level off the ship, and you gotta get some help from Pittsburgh and hope that Cincinnati, doesn't pull too far ahead with our guy Joe Flacco, who's just turned into a wandering samurai of just the everyman Joe in America. Like, just one of the. He was already here, but like, just to see it happen again, like it's happening again with this guy. Like, he's just drawing in more and more of America with these great quotes. And obviously big win over the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers on Thursday night, which I think we've already talked about, but obviously had the great quote about sitting by himself at the bar alone and everything. But yeah, getting back into the bye week, it was relaxing, but you're right. Like, when you go into the bye week at 1-5, worst record in a decade, I think even worse than the 2015 start, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, there's going to be some questions, and there's probably not going to be that many answers. And you alluded to the Brian Wacker, Baltimore Sun piece that ran, trying to dive into a lot of these issues. And I unfortunately was not able to fully read the entire thing. As Spenny drops away there and throws up the 1 second sign. So he'll be right back. But yeah, just kind of making the point that I wasn't able to read the full thing. It is paywalled. I am not a Baltimore Sun subscriber at the moment, but it kind of essentially alluded to some discontent within the locker room. I think really the meat of the story of these 25 sources that he spoke with was, to me, kind of the criticism continuing to come more against Todd Monken than anyone else, weirdly, and talking about how the staff was not able to, kind of take advantage of having Lamar Jackson, which I thought was interesting perspective, given that Lamar Jackson led quarterbacks in touchdown to INT ratio while he was still healthy, and how they've looked without him at the controls. I mean, it feels like it was essentially night and day. They haven't scored a touchdown without, or they've scored 1 touchdown without him. I don't know. That was kind of more the meat of the story to me, but obviously the thing that's going to grab the attention of a lot of people, and certainly national attention, is the old cliche about the bad team and taking the games out of the locker room. You hear that. This is not if you're kind of a newer NFL fan, this is not like a new thing that is only unique to this. Like, whenever you see a good team that's expectations were pretty high, having a bad season or a bad start, you usually hear something about, we're taking the games out of the locker room. We're going to have some more discipline. And I think it was initially reported and put out there that after the Chiefs game, was kind of the first incorrect report. Apparently it was the game before that, I think, that this occurred. And the insinuation, I think, from the article is that the coaching staff made it. The scheduling of this happening, or when this happened, was corrected, as was the fact that later on that it was the team's veteran players that made the decision to get the ping pong tables and the video games and whatever else out of the locker room. And yeah, I don't know. It just speaks a little bit to a locker room divided and a fan base and an organization that seem more disconnected than I think they've ever been. And man, there's been some, even in the good times in this run with Jackson and Harbaugh, there's been some disconnect, but man, this feels pretty disconnected to me right now, where you've got a fan base that is not satisfied with, I think, the talent of the roster. And I really don't think they're satisfied with the defensive coordinator, and they want the head coach's head on a spike. And they kind of have for the better part of several years, I guess, depending on who you talk to. But again, to me, it seems like a lot of it's coming back to Monken, weirdly, in certain circles. And yeah, I don't know what to make of a lot of this, but I think you're right. It's like, I wouldn't say it's all totally hot air, but it's just kind of seems part and parcel of a team with high expectations who has cratered out. Everyone's looking for answers and nobody has one. And this is the type of content that you get out of that. And no disrespect to the Brian Wackers and the Kyle Goons of the world that go out there and kind of either do reporting or throw opinions out there about this kind of stuff. It's just a kind of thing that I take some stock in, but not 100% stock in. The Marlins, incredible too, by the way. I forgot to throw that in there, but I saw Ashley's comment here. Marlin tweeting about going
on a tour,
on a glizzy tour, one glizzy in each state, and then it mysteriously appearing on the injury report the next day, missing practice with an illness. And of course, I threw out the Dexter's partner gif of the guy kind of, looking very serious and, contemplative. It's just weird, man. It's very, very weird.
It is. The Yeti here says the Monken criticism is confusing. Does Harbaugh have no control? I trust Todd Monken's words. I think he's a pretty straight up guy for the most part. Like even today, he was basically like, hey, if Lamar wants to play, he's going to play. They've said that for a while. Like, sounds like Lamar was medically cleared. Probably wanted to, take maybe Monday, get his head right. He was definitely frustrated. We saw him as we saw mad 2022, 2021 Lamar against the Chiefs and against the Lions. And I'm glad that the bye came when it came. I could have used it maybe 2 or 3 weeks earlier and been one of the first. That might have helped him a lot. But at a good spot still nonetheless, as opposed to being later in the season, probably would have racked up another L if it wasn't where it was. And yeah, I mean, Harbaugh does have control, but again, I've said it 1,000 times, like Harbaugh is the defensive guy, whether people want to, accept that into their narrative or not. You can go watch on Hard Knocks what room he was in every single fucking practice when they wanted to go win the division and make the playoffs last year, which they did and turn their 0-2 start, not as bad as a 1-5 start around. Go watch what rooms he's in. He's in the defensive meetings. Zach Orr, that's why, I've already said it on the same podcast. This season, the blame of Orr is Harbaugh. Harbaugh chose him over Denard Wilson and over, other guys that definitely had more experience. And I think it's because Harbaugh was going to lean into the defense. So it was like he was going to be a super apprentice that's getting on the job training is what Zach Orr got, as opposed to Mike McDonald, who Harbaugh, How to Pimp Your Butterfly out to his brother Jim in Michigan for a year.
Little apprentice reference. You fired.
So that's what fans want. I get it. I get change. I get those things, but it's Todd's offense. It's Lamar's offense. Like, I think those two run the show. Todd said, I get constant, both positive and negative feedback from John. I think they have reminders of things. I think they have run the ball late at times and fumbled. Like, what has happened? Again, I'm looking back. The bye week continues to give you perspective. Here's what's happened this season. The Ravens played a little soft late, blitzed a little bit, got flack for that, for playing soft. It was whatever. Henry fumbled, spoiled the game. Bills did good things, lost. Then beat up on the Browns, had a little bit of stuck in the mud for like a split second. I don't know. People say that. It looked fine to me. But then blew them out. Then Justin Nnamdi Madubuike, sounds like what we've kind of trickled at. Sounds like they learned that he was done for the year. They came out against the Lions. It was the Lamar show. It was a little sloppy because what we had heard is that practice was a ghost town. I think the coaches were shocked by the loss of Madubuike, who is a pillar of their current and future state, is one of the 5 most valuable players on your team. And apparently practice had no coaches at it other than positional coaches one of those days. They come out against the Lions. Defensively, they had no plan. I think they were in shock and they were like just calling a defense. I don't think they formed what they wanted to attack on the Lions well, who are a fucking explosive offense with a really good offensive line, good playmakers, and a quarterback who, is a good point guard. And got run all over. And I think that disheartened them. I think it should have disheartened everyone. The Ravens in their all blacks. That happened. Then they fucking go play the Chiefs. It's a little close. They get their doors beaten in.
And that I'd probably also refer back to that Sun piece as well with one of the quotes. Sorry for not having it in front of me, but to the effect that Buffalo loss essentially traumatized them. And it just kind of cast a pall over the season from there going forward.
But then they go win 41-17 a week later at the same time.
I'm with it, but like, I remember thinking like when that Lions lost, when Henry fumbled against the Lions and he had that clip of him slamming his helmet down, I was like, holy, like this team feels shell shocked to me. I don't know. And you make a fair point about
frustration boiled over about the same mistakes happening, which I think is why people want Harbaugh fired, because he's how many tweets have said he's the one constant. He's the one constant. So they want to change the one constant. I think that's a logical perspective to take on something. Keep doing the same thing over and over, the Einstein quote. But It's been tough. They played some good teams. They beat the shit out of the one shitty team they played. They got super hurt against the Chiefs. They had a skeleton cruise, and everyone's like, oh, the 49ers were missing 5 guys, and the Ravens are missing 11, and the 49ers were able to do this and blah, blah, blah. Like, all right, sure, fine, like, whatever. Fucking Mac Jones better than Cooper, whatever. Whatever you want to say, fine. Go ahead, have that. So I think it's just been tough going, and I don't think they looked like they had a plan from basically Detroit week 3 until week 6 against the Rams. I think they didn't have a plan. I think I think they were shell shocked. I think they were frustrated. The Henry, like you just said, Lamar was slamming his helmet around. Henry slamming his helmet around. Kyle Hamilton.
Lamar was like throwing shady looks at the sideline when the game was still tied. I was like, this dude's pissed off. Like, I don't know what's going on.
The offensive line was not, the everlasting arguments of the offensive line. They weren't playing great. That's for certain. So I think that frustration mounted. And yeah, I mean, finally against the Rams, they were running outside zone and they put Hamilton into the box and they were changing up their fronts a little bit. They had a nice little 4-man rotation working in tandem. Like they had plans. They played solid defensively. It wasn't some remarkable performance. The Rams did miss some, easy completions, but yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. Like Madubuike injury, I think messed them up. The fumbles and the blown lead in Buffalo compounded into fumbling again in Detroit, I think made the players feel like they're in Groundhog Day and they got fucking mad and probably a little disinterested. Right. Like, and the just the spectacle. And it's very hypocritical of me to say this as someone who comments so much on what they do and all of those things, but like, it's a game. It's a game. The players who play it get mad when they lose. Like they have human responses and reactions. They are professionals. Many of them conduct themselves well, but sometimes, I don't know if I'm playing a game, if I play golf, like people, how much we both love golf. If you listen to this show, we play a lot. Sometimes you can get a little disinterested at a certain point in time,
That's why you like didn't play it for the longest time because you would try. I think you
I quit. I played like 10 rounds when I was young and was like, fuck this. It's expensive. I'm getting pissed off. I'm paying more money than I have to get pissed off. So I sold my clubs and I quit. So I mean, that's video games. Think about like it's comparing playing in the NFL to a video game. Is it the same? No, but something that you play that drives your competitive spirit. It's tough to manage those emotions in a childlike capacity, let alone as a grown man that can deadlift 700 pounds and is fucking jacked to the tits and getting paid millions of dollars and you're the man in the arena. So
unless you're like MLG like me and just never loses at video games.
Exactly. So to this point, it has been like, I just come back. Like you just got the bye week. You've got everybody but Madubuike and Broderick Washington and who?
Like who's hurt?
Who is out for the year? Ardarius Washington, who hasn't played all year.
Washington, yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Pat Ricard's back in practice. Lamar's back in practice.
Hopkins missed today, but I think he's
an illness. It was an illness. Marlon's playing. Roquan's been ready to go. Like you lost Madubuike and another like rotational defensive lineman, and Trenton Simpson. Also, Tavius Robinson. There we go. There's a couple more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. Those losses.
And he'll be back. He's just got IR, but they said they expect him, I think. So
yeah. So relatively speaking, I mean, Madubuike was a big loss, but now you have to move past that. I think they did against the Rams. I think they started to figure it out. It just took them way too long, which I think is poor response and poor leadership. You could say coaching, but I would say it felt, from what I've just heard, I'm probably judging above my britches, but it sounded like they exhibited poor leadership when Madubuike went down and lost plans. So yeah, I just remain with the same sentiment as before. Like this Bears game, which we'll get into coming off the bye, but I remain that John Harbaugh, who the head is on a spike, as you said, Jake, this is either your greatest work or your sad, salty end. And I don't even I don't know. There's reports that the Ravens have no interest at this time. I mean, lose 4 more games in the next 6. So the sentiment can fucking change. Like results matter. If the Ravens win 4 games this year or 6 games this year, then perspectives change. It's the NFL. Things change. So The opportunities before him, all of the things that he's always said, the play like a Raven, all of the things, all of that, I suppose, franchise institutional knowledge and belief and system and program and all the things that we say, it either is still intact or it is not. And we're about to find out on Sunday against a Bears team that has won 4 straight. To get into this game a little bit more, I guess Jay can shift gears. They have won 4 straight. The Ravens are 6-point favorites, which I think is getting people. That's the trappiest bet of all time. I think if you're a neutral bettor and you look at that, you're like, well, the Ravens are 1-5. Lamar hasn't played. Is even I'm gonna hammer the Bears. The Ravens are 6-point favorites. I went to watch the Bears play after the Ravens-Rams game. I went the next day and went down to
you were just thrilled with the product on the field that night. I know that for a fact.
Northwest Stadium, I believe it's called now, if I recall correctly. Everyone still says FedEx. Northwest.
Did they take down the multicolored cubes?
Yep, it's gone. They've made nice improvements in there, considering that they're going to get out of there. They've made it a much more commercial in the way that it needs to be to give you an NFL experience, the game day experience. The pregame, like what the Ravens do with the AV, the lights, that whole show for them, I am very confused by, and I finally had the epiphany. So the whole thing is kind of like this Assassin's Creed movie that plays, and Jaden Daniels and Bobby Wagner, and it's very like Renaissance France, like post-Gladiator Rome kind of feel. Like I said Assassin's Creed 100 times, the one that was in Renaissance France. And there's all this like all this spear stuff and all these like assassin kind of like guardian commander maps, Game of Thrones. It was very Game of Thrones. I finally was like, oh, everything has the spear. The spear is the connection to the Redskins. So they are acknowledging the past through the spear. There's all these spears, like it's a commander with a spear from a long time ago. Very confusing overall. Fans seem to buy in. I felt bad for the Commanders fans because obviously that was a big game, that Monday night game against the Commies. It was a packed stadium. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, 2 after the Hail Mary the season before. Their lower bowl did not sit down. The entire ring of the lower bowl did not sit down the entire game. It was, you guys know how I feel about that.
The Sizzler sits in one of those end zones there. So I've been there for some preseason games, and they can draw a little bit of a crowd for those preseason games. They got some diehards. They can be really annoying when they start to get good, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about that for a couple of weeks, unfortunately for them. I
mean, Mario just played well, but to digress, like what I saw from Caleb Williams, what I saw from that offense, what I've seen and what I've digested from content and analytics and data perspective, like Ben Johnson's offense is very much in place. They love to run. They love to create lanes through the short pitch, the inside pitch, and then have DeAndre Swift attack downhill. Manungai is a rumbler. He's doesn't ever have a 5th gear, but he's definitely got a 4th gear. I think that offensive line can move bodies a fair amount, and they love to boot. They like to run Caleb Williams a bit. Their playmakers are, pretty explosive. Caleb was really bad that night, in my opinion. Overall, he did have the one nice throw that got called back to Roma Dunes on that one night, but put the ball in danger, scrambled a lot, missed open guys that were right in front of him. Like I could see all of it happening. Roma Dunes streaking down the field quite a few times. So I think he's an erratic playmaker. Kind of reminds you of young Josh Allen. Like that's what I felt like I was watching. I don't even remember how many times he turned the ball over or not, but it's erratic in a good scheme. And like, I don't see with all this preparation time and having the Ravens defense healthy and the urgency, and the Bears, they had their bye a few weeks ago. They're a little dinged up. I don't know. I don't see them having an explosive, consistent, like beautiful performance, but not great. I'll say this in the left shoe and then the right shoe. Not great when Ben Johnson can go watch the tape against the Lions, who he's so familiar with, and analyze that way of how the Lions were able to be successful on Monday night in Baltimore, especially offensively. But however, the Ravens defense looks like it's completely changed. They brought in Alohi Gilman. Kyle Hamilton's back down in the box. I think they understand
we haven't mentioned yet. They signed Carl Lawson today. I don't think he's going to play for this game, but
today's Thursday. I'd say he plays.
Okay.
I'll say he plays.
All right.
Thursday.
If they, yeah, I mean, situationally, you could probably just throw him in there and say, hey.
Depends on his football shape. If he's really in shape, I think they could bring him in for 20 snaps, like you said. Have
5 sacks last year in Dallas. You could think that he's been kind of gearing up for an opportunity here. Pretty active on X, the Everything app, by the way. Look up Carl Lawson.
At Carl Lawson, 55, I'm guessing. Don't know the actual account. But yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens have a plan defensively. I think they had the same thing happen as last year. They had to reevaluate what's real and what's fake. And I know a lot of those younger players got trial by fire and now have had time to chew on it. And now the system's going to be in a better place. I think they can evaluate Mike Green. I think they can evaluate Malachi Starks. I think they can evaluate these guys in less of a vacuum going into the year and more of a pragmatic approach to what you shouldn't be asking them to do and they still need to develop in. I could go through a couple things there, but I imagine they can pick their spots a little better for those guys after having some time to be able to go through the bye week and digest.
Yeah, and weirdly going to be kind of a tough test for them. Bears have allowed 11 sacks thus far. I think that's first in the NFL. They allowed 68 last year for context. So even with Caleb like running around the way that he does and kind of doing that like young quarterback run diagonally backwards thing, it seems like they're doing pretty good. Second in average time to sack allowed for 4.3 seconds. So you're now a couple of weeks moved on from Owe. Maybe you get Lawson in there. Like I said, situationally, try to free up some of these other guys. Like you said, play Hamilton closer to the line of scrimmage. I think that just all portends well. And it goes back to that conversation we keep having about just like, stop playing so conservatively. Stop being so afraid. You need to find a way to start forcing turnovers. I mean, that's just another conversation we're going to have to keep having. And here you have an opportunity with this young offense and with this young quarterback who hopefully you can bait into some mistakes. He certainly looked sharper these last couple of weeks. So I don't know, man. It's like just one of these games where you're looking to get your swagger back. The Bears are looking to continue this swaggering run that they're on. And I'm excited to watch this defense versus a young and upcoming offense it's not like this isn't like a Chiefs or a Bills, but this is certainly something with Ben Johnson where if they start getting rolling downhill, maybe it could be tough to stop. But I don't know. It just seems like kind of a good test coming out of the bye. Probably a little bit more difficult than people even thought would be when they were looking at the schedule before the season. But now here we are. And I don't know. It just feels like a good litmus test to see what you got coming out of the bye defensively.
Yeah, and they know they need to manufacture pressure, scheme pressure, all of those kinds of things on the defensive side of the football. Caleb Williams has averaged a league-high 10.4 yards per attempt. 10.4 yards per attempt against man coverage, according to Next Gen Stats, which is a full yard more than any other qualified quarterback. His rookie season, he only averaged 5.5 last year. So they've been torching man. The Ravens have utilized man coverage on 38% of opponent dropbacks, which is the 5th highest rate in the NFL so far. They've allowed the 6th highest completion percentage and 6.7 yards per attempt, which is just barely above average. So I don't think that the Ravens want to play a ton of man with him, like moving Hamilton down into the box, those kinds of things. I don't think they want to play a ton of man, but going to be a big Nate Wiggins, Cheeto Awuzie, and Marlon Humphrey and whoever else, game. If you're keeping Kyle Hamilton in the box, what is the answer? If you're looking at this Ravens defense and you're like, all right, they're moving Hamilton in the box. They're announcing it to the world. They kept him in the box and in the slot and the nickel the entire game last time. Well, the answer is to attack Malachi Starks and Alohi Gilman, right? That's the very easy answer. So doing so would, I think, be more attacking zone, attacking using play action, attacking using trips, trying to see if you can get the Ravens in some man looks in that regard, especially in the red zone. I think Malachi Starks has been tested a lot. So I believe the Bears are going to try and go trips to the boundary side of the field, have, let's say, Roma Dunes is the number 3 receiver in the slot, and try and run some, pylon routes, some corner routes, whatever you want to call it, run some back of the end zone stuff or some hard breakers, or see if he can, you can get a little option route and then sprint across the length of the field. I expect them to try that a lot. And the Bears have run the ball well. So Ravens have had a lot of time to prepare. You need to force a turnover. Like, you're coming out of the bye. You've talked about turnovers. You have had time. You got to figure out how to take the ball away from this team. The Bears have, let's see here. The Bears I know have forced the most turnovers in the NFL.
16 total.
Yep, the most in the NFL. I think Kevin Byard is a little bit banged up. Caleb Williams has the seventh highest turnover-worthy play rate with 8 in the NFL this year, according to your favorite Jake Pro Football Focus. He has pushed the ball downfield pretty steadily. He's 9th highest in average distance of target. Adjusted completion percentage, not very high. Second lowest in the NFL. Only Cam Ward has a lower adjusted completion percentage, accounting for drops and removing throwaways, things like that. So, yeah, like you said, only taking 11 sacks. The time to throw, 3.23, is the highest in the NFL. He likes to scramble. He's a big spin around guy. He likes to.
He hits that B button. Yeah, he does the old Russ Wilson.
Yes, very much so. He's only scrambled 13 times. And I know they've only played 6 games. So some of this comes with a grain of salt, which is currently 12th in the NFL. Not quite half of teams have had their bye, I believe, or maybe it's just about half. So take that with a little grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, based off of those, you can get a pretty solid idea of what's been going on. When you go take a look at the depth wise, I think they've had some. His deep completions are rarely in rhythm. It feels like they're typically pretty run around and the receiver comes back and it's like a contested catch. I've seen a good bit of those. I've scanned through some of their third downs and things like that. So his adjusted completion percentage on deep passing is 19th in the NFL. Time to throw is really high, 4.16, highest in the NFL when throwing deep, which confirms what I thought. He really throws deep when he runs around a bunch and then tries to like hurt you. So scramble drill, not something the Ravens are unfamiliar with in that regard. So I don't know. Bears offensive line has been a solid unit. Roma Dunes is sick. I fucking love him. I think he's one of the coolest players in the NFL. He's been one of the coolest prospects to come out in the last couple of years. They got a nice thing with Luther Burden, and Olamide Zaccheaus has played kind of shitty this year. He was so good last year for the Commanders. DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Roma Dunes. Cole Kmet, I think, has been questionable to play probably.
Yeah, he's got a back. So does Roshan Johnson. So
yeah,
DeAndre Swift guys, I'd probably be starting him this week if I were you.
I mean, the Ravens played well against the Rams at home. And I don't know. DeAndre Swift has been awesome. The crux of that game against the Commanders was just a little quick out route out of the backfield. Quick, like fast to the flat, and a little bit of a pick that the Commanders had to run over, and DeAndre Swift housed it. And they've just had some fucking fluky wins. I'm calling it. I said it after the Commanders game. Like, everyone was like, oh my God, they had so much grit. Jaden Daniels in that game dropped a handoff at the end of the game, very Ravens-like, like just unforced fumble in the backfield that the Bears were able to fall on after they blew a 13-point lead. They have been chaotic, I would say. We talked about the turnovers. We'll talk about their defense and the Ravens' offense, but took care of the Saints. The Commanders game was nuts. They barely beat the Raiders. They did drum the Cowboys here. The Lions put up 52 points on these guys. The Raiders were able to score a bit. The Commies were able to move the football. Like their defense is opportunistic, but they've got a lot of solid guys. Montez Sweat's a solid decade-long, big strong.
Yeah, it's like they're 7th in EPA, but you look at those 16 takeaways, they're 25th in points allowed per game. I mean, 28th in rush yards allowed, 16th in passing yards. So it's, right around average. I don't know. It seems like that type of defense that I think we wanted the Ravens to kind of be a bit more of, to an extent, where you bend and maybe you break, but you also take the ball away a lot. So I don't know. That's not necessarily a bad place to be, but turnovers, as we know, are like not the most reliable thing. So maybe that's something you can take advantage of. You just need to not fumble if you're the Ravens, or, let the ball clank off your hands into the hands of a waiting defender, which we've seen happen at times.
Agreed. So this Bears defense, I mean, they kind of remind me of the Bills defense. I feel like I'm watching a similar idea. They like their safeties to be able to kind of keep the lid on a little bit. They like, they have their pass rush is kind of I don't know. They get it done a bit. Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Dexter, Adiengbo, they'll blitz, Edmonds and a little bit, all those kinds of things. But I don't know. It's just you can fucking move the football on them. They'll scoop up fumbles when you drop the ball on the ground. Like you said, opportunistic's the perfect word. So there's not really any scary player. Like TJ Edwards has had a strong year. I'm pretty sure he has a pretty high PFF grade. I think he's probably been playing good football. Would be lying if I've, tell you I've been breaking down their defensive tape a ton. I've watched a couple of their games live, but yeah, it feels like overall they want to keep the lid on. They're okay against the run at times. I don't know. I just don't find them to be a very scary unit. Sweat's been solid. Byard has 4 picks. A couple of them have been nice plays he's made, but I don't know, man. I think the Ravens can get their asses. I think if we see the Ravens come out and do what they did against the Rams with simply Lamar Jackson instead of Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley, I think you can score 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. So Lamar returned to practice on Wednesday, limited hamstring, limited again today, hamstring. I wouldn't say he's looked 100% in just the jogging videos that you get, the very limited kind of access, obviously, that the journalists have as far as what they can tweet out from what they see. You can see him jogging out there. I wouldn't say he looks like Ginger, but, I wouldn't say he's like bursting out of the locker room to get onto the field either. Looks like they're taking it slow. Looks like they're taking it cautious. I think you would want to do that even in the best case scenario. Hamstrings can linger, and you don't want anything bad to happen, obviously. So could just be, and this would be my hope, that they're kind of slow playing this a little bit. They're not rushing him back onto the practice field, and he'll be ready to go for Sunday. I feel like that's what you're banking on. And yeah, it was a bit of a cryptic situation when Harbaugh was obviously speaking in absolutes heading into the bye that he would be back for this game. And then come Monday this week, he's not practicing, doesn't practice on Tuesday. I'm getting texts from certain people who might be listening to the show right now that were absolutely losing their mind and letting conspiracy theories run wild, as happens. But he's back. He's practicing. I expect him to play. And that's obviously going to factor into my prediction, which I don't know if you're ready to get to, or you got anything else you want to get out there.
Yeah, I think just overall, like Lamar Jackson's quiet. I don't like, there's people thought like there was the Josina Anderson tweet that was a star player is going to the owner. I don't think Lamar talks to Steve Bisciotti. I don't think he talks to like Harbaugh. I don't think he talks to DaCosta much. I think he keeps to himself. He, obviously is a fucking unreal player. He has stayed out of trouble, and it's not like he does anything to be in the headlines. It's I don't know. It just wouldn't be in his. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just a speculative bullcrap take, but like we know he was really quiet during contract negotiations and kind of wanted everything to stay quiet. I don't think him and Bisciotti are like texting, and I don't think he's going in this Mr. Steve's office to have tea and crumpets and talk for 90 minutes. I just don't think that's how he rolls. I think sounds like he went back to Florida during the bye week, and I think the Ravens probably cleared him like by Monday. And here we go. Yep. I know you tweeted this earlier. We'll get to it in a second, but sounds like they didn't know. Like, I don't think he was like, yep, I'm playing. He just was like probably quiet and probably on Monday was like, I'm not going to practice. And he knows what John said it best. He was like, Lamar doesn't need to practice. Like fucking LeBron James doesn't need to practice, man. Like,
yeah, we're at that point in his career. Like we've been here for a couple of years now.
All this stuff is just the media circus just makes us go nuts, and the Ravens have been bad. So Bears defense wise, so one of the biggest things they've done, they kind of replaced Tyreek Stevenson in a way. Tyreek Stevenson played 32 snaps at corner, and Nashawn Wright, who is someone that I loved coming out of Oregon State a couple years ago, big, long, strong corner, had a really good game against the Saints, touched the football a couple times, had a pick, a pass breakup, and allowed a touchdown according to PFF. But Stevenson is someone that you target on this Bears defense, very much so. He has allowed 11 completions on 26 targets. I don't know. He's been okay. I feel like he's who you kind of want to attack a bit right now. The Bears play the highest rate of cover 2 in the NFL, a lot of split safety stuff, and they've done a good job. I don't know, I can go through the numbers, but they've been solid there. And I think if you play light box on the Ravens right now, I think they're pissed off. I think they're healthy offensively. I think they understand the gravity of where they're at. And I don't know, man. I liked that zone offense for Henry. I liked being able to move those 4 guys not named Falele out in space, and he can at least, I guess, suppose, get in the way. But it's going to be a game where I think we see chaos on the defensive side of the football for the Ravens. I think they still have a lot to figure out in their secondary and their defensive line a little bit. And specifically their safeties. We'll see how Gilman and Starks play. I mean, that's kind of the biggest matchup for me. And on Loveland, who I think is also banged up. And then, yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know. Are you going to turn the ball over?
Give me some air yards in this game. Like, that's one note that I would have. It feels like it's just been a lot of line of scrimmage. Let's try to just break Zay Flowers free, like the last couple of weeks, and even before Lamar got hurt. Like, let's test DeAndre Hopkins one-on-one if we can get that matchup.
It's play action, man. The Ravens should be running 40% play action right now with the state of their offensive line. If you want to run some zone, run some play action off of it. Lamar has completed 91.7% of his play action attempts. He averages 14.8 yards an attempt. That is by far the most in the NFL. He has a plus 24.9 completion percentage on over expected on play action. That's the highest mark by a qualified quarterback since 2016, if he was to maintain that number. And guess what? The Bears have allowed a league high 80% completion percentage and 10.7 yards per attempt, the third highest against play action passes. Push the ball downfield to Hopkins, push the ball downfield to Zay Flowers, hit those zone runs, give Henry 17 carries. I mean, I think there's a simple way to look at this game. And I think it's do what you did against the Rams with Lamar Jackson. Same fucking thing. Push the ball downfield a little bit more. And I think you'll be able to really, really generate some explosive plays. This Bears team doesn't scare me. I think they make the playoffs. I think they're solid. I think they are way overhyped right now. I think we're seeing that from Vegas. I think Vegas would love for you to hammer the Bears. Bo, maybe we'll have on next week or something. Bo is like, that is the worst trap I've ever seen in my entire life. We've been joking about it, especially because Lamar coming back. So I don't know. Lose this game. Conversely, I'm going to pick the Ravens to win, but lose this game, you're done. I mean, you got to go on a miracle run. I think it would just be so deflating. And the trade deadline's coming up. You do have Thursday night against the Dolphins. So maybe you can rinse the loss off pretty fast and you're 2-6. That still means you can lose like maybe 2 games the rest of the way after the Dolphins. And if they go 2-0 and don't trade for the available Quinnen Williams, I know the Cowboys have more picks and things like that. Like if Quinnen Williams gets moved and it wasn't you, I'll be bitching. About that one. If he goes for like 2 firsts, sure.
I saw the asking price around a second right now is what some people think might be.
Connor Hughes, who covers the Jets, I think had heard that was the price. If it's a first and you win this game, go get Quinnen Williams. If he's attainable, and see if you can pry one of those edges off too while you're at it. And I think you can get back in this thing. What Joey Bag of Donuts did to the Steelers was fucking hysterical. It's just the drama of what's going on, and the Ravens are going to play Flacco 2 more times. Now he's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Like, Hard Knocks this season would have been pretty damn good if they had done the AFC North in season on this one. So that's about all I've got, but many thoughts. We've taken a break, and I think we're ready to chat.
They join Flacco on one of his solo dinners at some obscure, hole in the wall bar in Cincinnati.
Yeah, Joey.
I like the wedge salad. It's just you can hear his kind of South Jersey accent coming out a little bit.
He's enjoying those one. He's having one beer, one 22-ounce beer.
Exactly, one tall beer, and he's getting the fillet and the wedge salad, and not checking his phone. There'll be plenty of time to FaceTime Vincent and all the kids and everything. And or Steven, I think is the son's one of the son's name, one of his many sons' names. Yeah, that would have been electric. It's too bad we missed out on that.
It would have been. Two fast other things that make sense now as well. Already kind of talked about this one. Next Gen Stats has a bunch of good shit on this game. After losing 90 Matabike for the season in week 2, the Ravens have increasingly relied on blitzes to generate pressure, blitzing on 36% of opponent dropbacks since week 3, the 5th highest rate in the NFL. The other end of that shoe is that they say Caleb Williams has been productive against the blitz, completing 36 of 57 pass attempts for 587 yards, which is the 5th most in the NFL, and 7 touchdowns with no picks, the 2nd most touchdowns against the blitz by any quarterback without a turnover. Despite scrambling at the highest rate in the NFL when blitzed, 22%, all of his completions have come within structure. On his 16 blitz dropbacks that resulted in scrambles, he's recorded 9 scrambles for 34 yards while going 0 for 4 passing with 3 sacks. So what that tells me is that you've got to play clean leverage when you blitz and make sure his first read's not there. He is a mobile quarterback. He is a creative athlete. He is not killing you with his legs after breaking the line of scrimmage. See if you can get him running and tired. See if you can hang on for that split second. Like you said, Jake, take your L's. But I think you can get him into chaos mode. And when he gets into chaos mode, I think he gets tired late in games. So blitz his ass. You don't need to rush 6. Rush 5 a little bit. Send that nickel after him. See if you can mess with the protection just a little bit. So it sounds like if his first read's not there against the blitz, he's taken off and he's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, I'm with it. I don't know, man. Again, litmus test for this defense. Young offense with a quarterback who likes to run around a little bit. Heard Zach Orr at the podium say that he actually put in a call to Mike McDonald, so they were speaking. Obviously, Mike getting the big win there on Monday night, that godforsaken 10 p.m. kickoff that I probably dozed through the second half of. So yeah, maybe he's putting some good ideas in his head. That's a good resource to tap into. Maybe he should do more of that. Maybe Mike McDonald should be the shadow coordinator of the Ravens defense.
Wait, can you repeat that? Who? What was it?
Zach Orr said that he spoke with Mike McDonald. I guess over the bye. I don't know. He was like, yeah, I got to talk to him. I was like, wow, all right.
Mike McDonald was like obsessed with Zach Orr. He was always talking about him.
There you go. The mentor and the protege. Although they're probably right around the same age.
Oh no. Mike Mack's probably like 6 years older. How old is Mike Mack?
I want to say he's like 37, right? Or is he a little?
How old is Zach Orr? 33?
33, I think.
All right.
34, maybe.
All right. Let's see what we got. 33 and 38. Yeah.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah. Gabe DiNicolo says, feels like K-Ham multi-sack game. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is Roquan's first game back against the Bears too. So I think they're going to send those guys at Caleb and try and be destructive. And I think Caleb's done a good job mitigating pressure at times. He's like I said, very chaotic, but when you go look at the Bears, is their offensive line like a world-beating unit? Absolutely not. They have had like 2 good pass blocking games when you look at the raw numbers, and I don't know. Tooney's very good in pass pro. Wright is all right. I don't think those the center Dowman's not like some world killer. You can get over on him. I think he's been a nice player. Scootin', Bootin', and Boogieing. They've done a nice job with him, utilizing him in the run game. But there's Jonah Jackson, Braxton Jones, Theo Benedette has been fucking horrible. They've had Ozzie Trapillo in. He's been awful. So there are weak links on this line, and I think you can mess with them a little bit. So Mike Green, we're waiting on you. Post-rookie bump. We're waiting on Mike Green to have a day. How about that? K-Ham, Roquan Smith, Mike Green, 3 sacks. 1, 2, 3. That'll be my predicky. I think the Ravens figure it out a little bit pressure-wise. I think I liked what I saw against the Rams in terms of them being conservative, but I think they figure out how they need to be a little bit more aggressive against a young quarterback. Stafford's going to fucking tear you up. Caleb Williams is not not that grizzled vet yet against different looks.
Yeah, and you'd hope that there's a little bit of a case of the dropsies again, because some of that was maybe a little inflated by some Rams drops, as we know. But what are you going to do? You can only play what's in front of you.
Can only play what's in front of you. We can get to predicky time.
Okay, you want to start or should I?
Go ahead, you got it.
I'm going to go Ravens win this one 23-21. I don't think it's going to be super convincing on offense. I got 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals out of Louque. I think it's going to look a little messy. You've had, players it's good to have them back from injury, but even when you come back from injury, you're probably not going to be 100% yourself. It's an offense that was even at kind of its full strength health-wise, or not. They've never really been full strength, but even when they were hypothetically full strength health-wise, they looked a little discombobulated in places. It hasn't all meshed really in one game since Buffalo on offense. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. I don't know if we're going to totally get that this week, but I think they know what's on the line here. I think they've got the experience to grind it out in an environment that I think hopefully will be a little more juiced up than we've seen out of M&T Bank Stadium the last 2 weeks they've played there. Defense, you lean on them to, I've got them giving up 3 touchdowns, but you kind of lean on them to, like you said, continue that momentum, hopefully fluster Caleb Williams a little bit, maybe get a takeaway. I mean, that would be cause for another Bronx cheer, as we saw with John Jenkins 2 weeks ago. So yeah, by hook or by crook, I've got them getting it done. You get to 2-5. I don't think you're going to feel great about yourself, but at the very least, you're back in the win column and you can start building towards what you hope is a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, I think the Bears rely a lot on DeAndre Swift to run outside the tackles. He's looked good. He looks like he's in great shape this year. He's having a great year. I think the Ravens have struggled a little more between the tackles, trying to run downhill, and I just maybe Monongai's a little better in that regard, but I don't think that kills the Ravens. The Bears allow the most yards per play in the NFL. So what worries me, am I a little worried Lamar hasn't practiced in God knows how long, and, turnovers arise? Sure, but he's been so turnover averse for the most part. If you take care of the football, you win the game. I really think it's that simple. I think that's
get your turnovers out of the way early. Get your fumble or your pick out of the way in the first quarter.
I love that take. I love that take. Be unafraid early and keep it buttoned up late. Finish this game strong. I think you can get the Bears defense. I think that the Bears offense will generate some explosive plays. I think this offensive line in that zone, heavy outside zone look with some boots, calms everything the fuck down.
Tempo.
John Harbaugh,
control tempo on offense and get off the field on defense a little more.
John Harbaugh has preached running the football and hitting shots over top as long as he's been in Baltimore, regardless of what the offense looks like. That's your identity. Get back to your identity. Stop trying to prove that you can zag on the zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. Pound the fucking rock. Hit some play action shots. I think they do. I think that we see the Ravens score 3-4 touchdowns in this game. I think we see the Bears score 2-3 touchdowns in this game. They've got Jake Moody kicking. And I think that the kicking has come back around on the Ravens, especially at home. There's been some misses. A lot of short misses this year while distance is at an all-time high. I feel like the K-ball has contributed to less short accuracy than usual. I swear. I would love to look at those numbers. But I think we see the Jake Moody miss a kick, maybe make one. Bears score 22, Ravens score 30. 30-22 Bears or Ravens, pardon me.
That'd be a nice little return. Score 30 points.
Ravens Wade here says outside zone Bears are 29th against it. Yeah, I mean their safeties are not safeties and corners aren't exactly these world beaters in terms of tackling and stuff like that. So like I said, they remind me of the Bills. You can get the Bills on the outside a little bit. I think you can get this Bears team on the outside a little bit. Sounds like the same 5 starters are starting on the offensive line from what I've heard. So this is the last game of that. If they don't get it done, Emory Jones, activated. I don't know that he's ready. That kind of worries me, but yeah. Garnett here says he feels good if Ronnie Stanley's healthy and he's had some time to heal up. So everybody's been pissy. Everybody's been frustrated. Fans, players, I think the coaches too. Been a tough start. Long road to go. Ravens are 6.5-point favorites. I think for a reason in this one. And I think that Vegas really wants you to bet on the Bears. So I'll take the Ravens to cover there. 30.
Yeah, you were really hungover. You stumbled to the first tee, no warm up. You start triple double, but still got 15 holes in front of you.
Perfect way of putting it, my friend.
Go turn this thing around.
Now you're not thinking your hangover's gone. You're not thinking about the swing. Just do what you know to do. Keep the
you
ball
go win
play.
here. You go win here, and it's like having a little hair of the dog beer on the 4th tee, and it's like, all right, like we're ready. We're ready to really get to the swing now.
Love it. I think that's the perfect way of putting it. And like it's complementary football. That's what we're talking about. Control on offense and be a little bit aggressive so you can get the ball back once, maybe twice, God forbid. So play some complementary football, have that hair of the dog beer on the 4th tee, and keep the ball in play. That's all you got to do. Keep the ball in play. Like, seriously, don't fucking turn the football over. Don't go crazy. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. You just have to play simple football and execute it well against a younger quarterback who's been dynamic while inconsistent. So it's the show me game. Missouri's the show me state. This is the show me game.
Love it. All right. That all we got, pal.
I think that's all we got, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in with us here. Quick note for our Spotify listeners. Apologies for the feed just not being on there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. If that has to do with the AWS outage or whatever the hell happened there. So we are looking into that. Try to get that back up for you. But in the meantime, I think we're still good on Apple and other platforms whatsoever, YouTube as well. So we are working to fix that. We appreciate those who hung with us here in the live chat and everyone listening after the fact. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to us wherever you listen. On YouTube, hit us with that subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. You can find us on social media at Exo52 Podcast on X, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me at Jake Louque on X. That's Louque. Spenny at Ravens4. Dummies, that is a number 4 in the middle. Brian at Barstool Banks. Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10. Eric at EDITTI 22. We appreciate you all very, very, very much. And we will talk to you again very, very, very soon.
See ya.
Arrivederci.